Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Eleni. I'm a second year dental student and I go to Tufts University. This is going to be my last video in my PAT series with PAT Crusher. Today I'm going to be going over the top front end section of the PAT. And if you don't know, the PAT is the perceptual ability test within the DAT. And the DAT is just the dental admissions test that you have to take in order to get into dental school. So today I'll be going over the top front end section, and yeah, let's get into this video. Top front end is the section we will cover in this video. Like all sections, there are 15 questions in this section, and I suggest about 50 seconds per question for a total of about 12 and a half minutes in this section. In this section, you are presented with pictures of the top, front, or end views of a solid 3D object. The views are straight on and without perspective. The view looking down on it is in the upper left corner as the top view, and the view from the front is in the lower left corner as the front view. And the view from the right side of the object is in the lower right corner as the end view. So these views are always in these same positions and labeled accordingly. So as you can see here, in these problems, 2 of the views are going to be shown, and there are 4 answer choices for the third missing view to complete this set. And you need to figure out which is the correct missing view. And it's not always the top view that is missing. Sometimes it can be the front view or the end view that is missing. So our first test strategy is to just break it down to the basics and to become familiar with the 3 different views. So here is a basic 3D object and its corresponding top view, front view, and end view, or side view, which, if you remember for keyholes, is the same 3 views we use to look at our 3D object to figure out its keyhole. But in this section, we are given the 2D views, and we must work in the opposite direction to build up to the 3D object in our minds. So now let's imagine we have added a hole in the 3D object. So you can adjust the top view to match this with a hole in the center. But from the front view and the end view, there is no difference from the previous solid rectangular prism because you wouldn't be able to see the difference in the hole from the front or the side views. This hole can only be seen from the top view. So instead, we used a dash line to symbolize this hollow hole in the middle of the 3D object that cannot be seen from the front view or the end view. So understanding the dotted or dashed lines is going to be very important for this section to solve the problems. So now let's add an extension to the object to make it a little bit more complex. So the top view can just add this extension piece here to show the add-on. For the end view, we add this extension piece here to show the add-on. The dashed lines can stay where they are because the hole is still there in the middle. And the solid line can stay where it is also because we can actually see that line if we look from the side here. You would be able to see this corner, so it will be represented by a solid line. But what about from the front view now? So here, with this added extension, this corner here would actually line up with the dashed line we already had for the hole in the center of the original object. But the solid line will always trump a dashed line. So we would put a solid line here where the dashed line used to be to represent the hollowed area of the object. So every question is going to present you with two of these views, and you will have to solve for the third view. Another test strategy is to find something unique about the two sides you are presented with, and then determine what that feature would look like in the missing view that you need to figure out. So let's try an example now. Okay, so in this example, we are given the top and the front views. So that means we need to figure out which of these answer choices is the missing end view. So let's first just look at the top and front views to get an idea of what the side view should look like. If we look at the top view, imagine you are looking down at the object from above. We can see that there is something that is this length and it's pretty long, so we need to look for something to match this length. Also, we need to find something matching this rectangle above because the solid lines tells us there is something that is coming up at us here. And the dotted lines here mean that something must be underneath here that is hidden. Let's look at the front view now. So this means we are looking at the object from the front and straight on. So from the front, the object is very tall and wide. So let's keep that in mind. And because of these solid lines here, we know that there will be a projection of the object out. And we can also see our dashed lines here to indicate this rectangle that must be hidden in the back. So let's now look at the answer choices to see if anything matches the object we are envisioning now. So let's start with the last three answers since these look very similar and we can eliminate them one at a time. So let's start with B. So remember, this is the end view and we are looking at the picture from the side. Now, immediately I know that none of these answers are correct. I can tell because none of them give this front view that we see here. We need an object that goes all the way down here and is really tall. So actually, none of these work. They definitely have the length we would need for them to give this top view, but since they don't match the front view, we can easily eliminate them. Which means our answer must be A. And looking at it, it makes perfect sense. We have this tall object to match what we would see in the front, and it also extends back, which is what we would see from the top. And it has this extension up, which is what we see from the top view to give these solid lines. And this extension out here is the same thing we see in the front view with these solid lines. And this tiny little extension here must be the rectangle we can see from the front view and the top view represented by these dashed lines. So A is the correct answer here. Here is the explanation for this question, and you can see here that the 3D view of the object would look like this. This explanation can be found on the PAT Crusher website in the top front end generator. Okay, let's do another example now. So in this question, the front view is missing this time, so we will be looking at the answer choices for the correct front view. So let's briefly look over the top and end views to get an idea of the object we are going to be looking at. So in the top view, we can see there is a long rectangle that is going back here. And there are a few small squares and rectangles here on the left side of the object. So this will be important to keep in mind when we move forward. Now let's look at the end view or side view here. we can see again a long rectangle going back here, and we can see the smaller rectangles going down here. So that is something else to keep in mind for the front view. We will have these long shapes going downwards and backwards. So now let's begin looking at our front views in the answer choices. We can do this by process of elimination again to find the correct answer. So let's start by looking at answer choice A. So imagine we are looking at this object from the front. We know this object would not work because from the top view we can see that there isn't a part of the object that goes all the way across, as we see in this front view in the answer choice. So this must be incorrect. So let's move on to answer choice B. If we look at this rectangle up here at the top, this seems to match what we saw in the top view and could match the side view as well. And we can look at this tiny skinny rectangle here, which matches what we would see from the top view right here, and it could match this rectangle here in the end view. It's about the same length as well going downwards to this answer choice. So that works as well. And this other bigger rectangle matches with the other rectangle from the side and from the top. And it seems like this dotted line here must be this rectangle that we see here and this little rectangle that we see here. So it seems that this rectangle here must be a cutout in this bigger rectangle. So to me, it seems that B is the correct answer. And we don't even have to look at C or D because everything in B matches with the top and end views. And here's an explanation to this question. You can see the 3D version of our object, and you can see that it has the long rectangle going backwards, the small skinny rectangle in the front, with the other rectangle next to it with the cutout within it. This section can be very tricky, but with more and more practice, it will become easier and easier. Okay guys, I hope you found this video helpful, and if you want more practice problems, you can check out patcrusher.com, and I have a code for you guys. It's Eleni PAT20, and you can get 20% off your account with PAT Crusher. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video and enjoyed this PAT series, and I hope it helps you guys with your studying. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe down below, and I hope to see you guys in my next video. Bye!